What is up, everyone? It is Flynn Patrick with another 2018-2019 NBA season preview, and in this video we are going to go over why I believe the Washington Wizards will exceed expectations this upcoming season. First things first, if you have not already, make sure to subscribe to see more fun quality content. We will be doing more season previews. Make sure to be on the lookout for that. Anyways, let's get right to it. The Wizards are really intriguing this season, and I am really excited to see what they can do this upcoming season. There's a lot of new faces there, there's a lot of the same faces there, but I believe that this team made the right roster moves this offseason to improve that team overall. And I think that the Wizards will be better in 2018-2019 than they were the previous season. Now, I don't believe the Wizards are finals contenders, barring a miracle. That being said, I do believe that they will get past the first round of the Eastern Conference, and I have zero doubt they are a top 5 team in the East as long as they remain healthy. When I think of the Washington Wizards being the age I am, the first thing I think of is Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas. He's sort of just a goofy goober right now, but watching him as a little kid, good golly gee wilkers, Gilbert Arenas was an absolute force of nature. Honestly, in terms of the recent history of the Wizards, they've just sort of been hanging in Eastern Conference playoff purgatory. They're good enough to get there, but they haven't really been able to get over that next step. They do have John Wall, who is a low-key superstar, but I believe right now, with the way this team is set up, I think this is their best chance to make a big impact in recent memory. I will say that Ernie Grunfield's been the GM since World War II, and sometimes it feels like they need to make more changes, but I do believe that they made just enough changes this offseason to make a positive impact on the floor. I will say this though, in my opinion, there is zero doubt the Washington Wizards improved their roster from the previous season, and I think they are going to be extremely fun to watch this upcoming season. So like our other videos, we are going to go over each and every player on this roster, so let's just get right to it. We're starting off with the stud muffins. At point guard, the man himself, Mr. John Wall, the face of the Wizards franchise, arguably the fastest player in all of the NBA. He has made 5 straight All-Star games, has a max contract, but at this point it's kind of funny because he's almost a low-key superstar, which is really crazy to think about considering he pretty much has the most baller high school mixtape of all time, and the hype he had coming out of Kentucky, being John Calipari's first big-time ever recruit there. But being on the Wizards in Eastern Conference playoff purgatory, John Wall has almost sort of been forgotten about, and he needs to stay healthy. He only played 41 games last year, but he has made progression. He made his 5th straight All-Star game. He improved his long-range shooting a career high from the three-point line last season. That is good progress. And this Wizards team did put up a healthy fight against the Raptors in the first round last year. I would not underestimate John Wall's hunger this year. He is 28 years old. He is right in his prime. The time to win is now. Not later, now. He has to win now. His legacy is absolutely on the line. This upcoming season is going to be gigantic, and how we view John Wall 15 years from now. I think John Wall knows this, and I think he knows that he needs to bring his A++ game this upcoming season. And next, we have stud muffin number 2, Bradley Beal. You know, with DeMar DeRozan leaving Toronto, I think it's safe to say now that the Washington Wizards have the best backcourt in all of the Eastern Conference. Beal made his first All-Star game of his career last year, and he made progression in all areas of his game, averaging a career high in rebounds and assists. Didn't miss a single game last year, and he is still just going to be 25 years old all of next season. The young Oubre Allen comparisons are obvious. It's kind of crazy to think he's still only 25 years old, but I'm really excited to see what he can do, because if he continues to progress, Bradley Beal can seriously establish his name as a potential superstar in the NBA. I had him ranked as the number 32 player in the NBA last year, and with continued progression, I could for sure see him getting in that top 20 to 25 range. So if you have John Wall and Bradley Beal on top of their games, watch out for this Wizards team. They need to stay healthy. There's zero doubt about that. But this is the best starting backcourt in the Eastern Conference now, and that should not be underestimated. All right, so let's look at the reserves in this backcourt, and let me tell you, I think the Wizards did an A+ job at shoring up the depth in this backcourt this past offseason. We are going to start with the man himself. Here comes Austin Rivers. Let me tell you, Austin Rivers is an excellent fit for this Wizards team, and I think he is going to thrive next year. I think as long as he stays healthy and he plays like he did for the Clippers last year, except coming off the bench in a more comfortable role instead of being forced into a starting position with his father as the coach, I think Austin Rivers could absolutely be a top 100 player this upcoming season. All right, so I grew up in Florida. Austin Rivers grew up in Florida as well. And for the casual NBA fans who don't realize this, Austin Rivers was like one of the biggest high school players of all time. I graduated the same class he did. I remember going to the city of Palms, which is one of the biggest high school basketball tournaments in America, and Austin Rivers was playing there. And let me tell you, the crowd was so lit and turned up that it was like the Beatles were in town. I think the Wizards got great value here, especially in that trade for Marcin Gortat. I think Austin Rivers is going to thrive in a sixth man role. Who knows? He could potentially be a sixth man of the year candidate if everything goes right. This is a serious player, and I think the Wizards will have him playing in a role that is very comfortable for his positive aspects of his game, and I'm really excited to see what Austin Rivers can do in DC. All right, next we have the first round pick, Troy Brown Jr. This guy has potential for real though. He's a 6'7" player with point guard skills who is still just going to be a teenager all of next year. I didn't really expect the Wizards to draft him. I think it was one of the more surprising picks of the first round, and he's being a little undervalued, I think. NBA 2K has him ranked as the lowest first round rookie, which I think is a little ridiculous, but I think Troy Brown Jr. is in a position where he's going to play right away, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. There's not going to be a ton of pressure on him right away. He's coming off the bench. He's behind two stud muffins. You've got Austin Rivers in the backcourt with him on that bench. He's still young, he has a lot to learn, but I had him as a top 15-ish prospect in the draft this past season, and I think Troy Brown Jr. is a good fit for Washington, very low-key. He can play multiple positions. The Wizards coaching staff with Scott Brooks, they just need to develop him right. And then we have another solid player in Tomas Satoransky. I thought he made a lot of progression in his second season in the NBA, and I think he improved a lot as the season went on. He's another 6'7" player like Troy Brown Jr., but I think Satoransky is going to have a more comfortable role this upcoming season. He was a borderline top 200 player in 2017-2018. He progressed. He has nice overall versatility, and I'm really excited to see what Tomas Satoransky can do this upcoming season. We also have Jody Meeks, who is an excellent three-point shooter that played a healthy 77 games last year. This is a stud muff, and I remember him scoring 50+ points for Kentucky back in the day. I think Jody Meeks will do good things this upcoming season. They also signed a depth filler, Chason Randall, I can't pronounce it, but either way, I remember him playing for the Knicks a couple of years ago. He could low-key be a nice signing if some injuries happen to this team. All right, now let's get to the front court. First up, we have the stud muffin himself, straight out of Georgetown, Otto Porter Jr., the most low-key max contract player in the NBA. But he made progression last year, and I can see him doing good things this upcoming season as well. I had him ranked as the number 56 player in the NBA this past season. He's efficient, and he improved his playmaking this past year. I just feel like he kind of needs to get a little more confident in his game because he has the talent to be like really a top 30 player in the NBA. He is the number 3 option on this team. I just feel that he needs to get very comfortable in his role because he is making progression. He just needs to start coming up in clutch situations more, get that Mamba mentality in his mindset, and just get on it basically. Take a deep breath, chill out, because he has talent, and if he continues to progress and if he continues to get his confidence up, I think that he could be a fringe top 30-35 player this upcoming season even. Next up, we have the young stud muffin off the bench, Oubre Jr, who made progression in his third season, averaging 12 points a game. And at times last season, I had him as a fringe top 100 player. He ended up finishing number 154 on our list. But he's athletic, he has swag, and he's still just turning 23 in December. He's young, a great player to bring off the bench, and I'm really excited to see how Oubre Jr progresses this upcoming year. Next up, we have Markieff Morris, of course, who for some reason I feel like it's hard to believe he's just 29 years old still. He seems much older, but I ranked him as the number 107 player in the NBA last year. He is a great stretch four player. He averaged a career high in three-point percentage this past year, and he continued to be an excellent role player for this Wizards team. I think he is a great fit next to the monstrous stud muffin they signed, who we will be talking about in just a minute. I think Markieff Morris is going to have a great year this upcoming season. Speaking of which, the man of the hour himself, Superman has touched down on the Lincoln Memorial. It is Mr. Dwight Howard, D12 himself, good golly gee willikers, and he was, of course, the number 69 player in the NBA this past year. He is a force of nature. That's why I'm going on a mini tangent real quick. It's just funny because I feel like this is a player who has been sort of forgotten about among the newer generation of NBA fans. I've seen some discussions on forums asking if Dwight Howard's going to be a Hall of Fame player. Like, are you kidding me? Of course he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. People forget just how good this guy was in the 2000s. This guy's absolutely a Hall of Fame player. I'm going to be real. I don't think many teams would have been a good fit for Dwight Howard. I think Washington is one of the very, very few, if not really the only other team besides Golden State, that is a good fit for Dwight Howard. I like the fit for some reason. I know it's weird, but I just have a really good feeling about how he fits with the other players on this team. First of all, saying he's a massive upgrade over Marcin Gortat is an understatement, literally and figuratively. He's healthy. He played more games this past season than he did since last decade. I think he is going to be in a more comfortable role than he was in Charlotte and Atlanta. I have him ranked as the fourth best player on this team. He wants to get touches. He's in an offense where he's going to get touches, but there is not going to be as much pressure on him because you have John Wall, you have Bradley Beal, you have Otto Porter Jr. And as long as Dwight Howard is accepting of his role, again, that is a big if, I understand, but I just have a really, really good feeling about how he fits with the players on this team because I think that this team is set up for success, and I just have a really good feeling that Dwight Howard is going to have a mini resurgence here this upcoming season. Who knows, he could potentially make an all-star game. So we've got some other front court backups, and I'm going to start with Jeff Green because I think this was a really underrated signing. I had him ranked as the number 115 player in the NBA this past season. I think he had a mini resurgence here. He didn't play good in Orlando, I'm just going to say it outright, but he played for Cleveland last year on that team that made the finals, and I think his confidence went up and he was more accepting of his role as a veteran leader. And I think he is a great addition for this Wizards team. He is going to be taking Mike Scott's role likely, and I think Mike Scott's a good player, but I think Jeff Green is an upgrade over Mike Scott. He has a winning mentality. He's a great player to bring off the bench. I really, really like this signing for Washington. I think Jeff Green was one of the more underrated signings in the NBA this past offseason. We also have backup center Ian Mahinmi. Oh man, that was probably a really bad pronunciation. But anyways, I had him ranked as the number 260 player in the NBA this past year. He's a serviceable backup. I'll be honest, they probably could do a little better, but he's big. He has a high basketball IQ. He's played in the NBA since like 2005, and I think Ian Mahinmi could be a nice role player next year. Let's go over some other low-key backups really quick. Honestly, Jason Smith, the number 420 player in the NBA this past season. I'm honestly surprised he's even in the NBA still, but I'm sure he is a nice personality to have in the locker room. We also have Thomas Bryant, and I think this could potentially be a low-key nice addition for the Wizards as well, because this is a guy who is barely legal drinking age. He was a highly regarded recruit coming out of high school, playing for Indiana for one season or two, I can't remember. Anyways, he's still young. He played for the Lakers this past year, mostly in the G League, but This is a team that lacks some front court depth, and I think Thomas Bryant could potentially, if things go right, take over that second string center role if he continues to progress. Again, this is a low risk, high reward addition for the Wizards, and if Thomas Bryant works out for this team, good things could happen. Finally, I'm kind of surprised to see this name, but Lavoy Allen, who didn't play in the NBA last year, but played for Indiana and Philadelphia for a number of years, and he played in the G League last year, but he's back in the NBA. They signed him to a training camp contract. He could potentially have an impact as a role player as well. So bottom line, why does Flynn Patrick think the Washington Wizards will exceed expectations this upcoming season? I will give 3 reasons. Number 1, the absolute holy macaroni of a backcourt. John Wall, superstar. Bradley Beal on the cusp of superstardom. They are both smack dab right in their primes. They want to win now. They are thinking about their legacies. They are going to be on their A+ game this upcoming season. The best starting backcourt in the Eastern Conference. Good golly gee Willikers, this could be really, really fun to watch. Number 2, the addition of Dwight Howard. A force of a personality, and straight up, I don't think he really would have been a good fit for most, if not just about all NBA teams, but for some reason, I think this is just a really, really good fit for him, and I think that he could potentially push the Wizards to the next level. And finally, number 3, they shored up some depth issues. Now, I'm gonna be clear, I still think there are some depth issues on this team still, but it is much, much better than it was last year. I think Austin Rivers could be a potential 6th man of the year candidate. Troy Brown, Tomas Satoransky. I think Jeff Green was one of the more underrated signings in all of the NBA. You have Kelly Oubre Jr., who at times was a fringe top 100 player last year. Now, I do think they still have some front court depth issues. I'm gonna be straight up. But I think that their depth improved from last year, and I think that the results will show on the floor. So overall, I think the Washington Wizards had a lot of positive aspects happen to them this past offseason. And they are going to be much more fun to watch, especially with the continued progression of John Wall and Bradley Beal, potentially Otto Porter Jr. coming into his own, and of course, the goofy goober Dwight Howard. My bold prediction is that the Washington Wizards will get past the first round of the Eastern Conference, and they will make the Eastern Conference semifinals this upcoming season. As of right now, I have Toronto and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. That being said, I do think the Wizards have a legitimate shot if everything goes right and some pieces fall into place. Barring a miracle, I don't think they're making the finals, although that would be really fun to see. Point being, I do think that Washington improved a lot. I think they're going to be very fun to watch, and I think they are going to see a lot of success this upcoming season. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Flynn Patrick. We will be back with more content shortly.